The deep chamber was silent except for the low hum of machines buried under the sand. The ancient ruin had been discovered 3 months ago on the red desert planet called Valian. Every scientist, engineer, and archaeologist from the Alliance came to study the strange circular structure found deep under the ground. They called it the Alien Seal, a smooth black ring with glowing patterns that no one could read or break. Thousands of tools had been used. Plasma cutters, energy drills, magnetic hammers, nothing worked. The seal stayed cold and unbroken. It didn't respond to heat, light, or sound. Even alien experts from 6 species failed to open it. It became a mystery that everyone wanted to solve. Among them was a human technician named Evan Cole, a quiet man who wasn't supposed to be there that day. He was assigned only to check the generators and fix the lights, but curiosity had drawn him near the seal. While the others argued about theories and calculations, he liked to look at things, to listen to the hum and feel the vibration in the air. Sometimes simple attention revealed more than complex thinking. Evan's job was to check energy flow. The lights had flickered twice that morning, and the lead scientist, Dr. Mayhall, was angry. She shouted for the humans to stay away from the chamber, but Evan quietly entered after she left. He didn't plan to touch anything, just to make sure the wires weren't burned. But the air around the seal felt strange, like pressure on his chest, and a faint whisper touched his ear. It wasn't sound, but it was like thought. He froze, his flashlight beam shaking. The seal glowed faintly as if reacting to him. Every time someone approached before, it had gone darker, but now it pulsed slow and steady like a heartbeat. Evan whispered, "That's new." He stepped closer, his boots crunching on the dry floor. The symbols on the seal shifted, and not glowing brighter, just changing. They rearranged themselves like living letters. Evan didn't understand them, but he could feel what they meant. It wasn't danger. It was curiosity. The metal around the seal had deep scratches from alien tools. Evan kneeled and brushed away dust. He noticed a small dent, something like a fingerprint burned into the surface. He placed his palm beside it, not touching, only close. The hum grew stronger. The lights above flickered again, but this time stayed on. Then, without warning, the air cracked. A pulse of blue light spread out, silent but powerful. Evan fell back, shielding his face. When he opened his eyes, the black ring had split along its center. The seal, as unbroken for thousands of years, had been shattered. For a long second, he could only breathe. Smoke drifted up from the broken edge. Inside there was something, a soft light, almost liquid. The core of the seal was glowing like a living thing. He backed away, afraid he'd done something wrong. But the ground didn't shake, no alarm screamed. Instead, a soft sound filled the room, a voice, female, ancient, calm. "Who summons the keeper?" Evan's heart raced. The voice wasn't from speakers. It came from the air itself. He turned around but saw no one. The light from the seal grew brighter, and from within it a figure began to rise. A holographic shape first, then almost solid. It was a woman, or something like one. Her form shimmered, built from threads of blue light. She had eyes that glowed with gentle gold and hair that moved like slow water. Her body was covered in patterns that looked like the same alien script from the seal. Evan stumbled back until he hit the wall. The figure looked at him calmly. "You touched the heart," she said. The first in many lifetimes. He shook his head. "I didn't mean to. I was just checking the power lines." Her expression didn't change, but the air around him felt warmer, almost kind. "You are human." The others tried force. "You tried silence. The seal heard you." Evan blinked, unable to form words. His mind raced with questions. Who she was, what this place was, why it reacted to him. He wanted to call the team, but somehow he couldn't. The feeling in the air was sacred, like he was standing inside a heartbeat that had just awakened after ages of sleep. She stepped closer. Though her feet never touched the ground, her movement felt graceful, deliberate. "You broke the barrier," she said softly. "You freed me." He swallowed hard. "Freed you? Are you alive?" Her golden eyes flickered. "Once, long ago, I was bound to protect what my people left behind. The seal held my essence. You have broken it. You are now part of it." The last words made him uneasy. "Part of it? I don't understand." She tilted her head slightly. "You will. In time." Before he could respond, alarms began to blare from the outer corridor. The other scientists had noticed the energy surge. Footsteps echoed and voices shouted orders. Evan turned toward the door. But when he looked back, the glowing woman had stepped close enough that her hand hovered inches from his chest. "Do not let them destroy me again," she whispered. "They will not understand." Her hand pressed lightly against his chest and warmth rushed through his entire body. His vision blurred for a second, and when it cleared, the chamber looked normal again. The seal was broken, but the light had vanished. The woman was gone. Dr. Mayhall stormed in with the others, shouting, "What did you do, Cole?" He opened his mouth, but no words came. His hands trembled. I didn't, it just happened." They surrounded the seal, scanning it with instruments. The readings went wild. Energy levels were beyond known limits. They couldn't understand how it happened. Dr. Mayhall accused him of tampering, but he couldn't explain that a voice had spoken to him. That night, after they forced him out of the chamber, Evan sat alone in his tent. His hand still tingled with faint warmth. When he looked in the mirror, a small golden mark shimmered over his chest, a line of symbols glowing faintly under his skin. He rubbed at it, thinking it was a burn, but the glow only deepened. Then he heard it again, the voice faint inside his mind. "Do not fear. The seal is broken, but the world is not yet safe." Evan froze. "You're in my head?" The voice was calm. "You carry the key now. The bond cannot be undone." Outside, a storm began to rise. Sand whipped across the camp and power lights flickered again. Evan looked out the tent flap. He saw blue light rippling under the sand, spreading outward from the ruin. Something ancient had awakened. He didn't know what he had released, or what it wanted, but one thing was certain. The seal hadn't just been a door. It had been a prison. And now, because of him, it was open. The storm outside grew stronger as night covered the desert. The tents shook and sand whipped against the walls. Evan sat in silence, still staring at the golden symbols glowing faintly on his chest. He didn't understand what had happened, but every time he closed his eyes, he could feel the same warmth he felt in the chamber when the alien woman touched him. It wasn't pain. It was something alive, moving like light through his blood. The voice came again, soft, almost like a whisper behind his thoughts. "You are linked to me now. The seal is broken, but the balance is fragile." Evan swallowed hard. "Who are you really?" he whispered. "I am a guardian of the vault. My people left their knowledge here before the stars changed. The seal kept it safe. When it was broken, I awoke. But I am weak. They will come for me again." Her words made him uneasy. "Who will come?" The answer came slowly. "Those who built this place, and those who destroyed them. They will sense the awakening." He didn't know what that meant, but he felt something shifting deep under the sand, like old machines turning on after sleeping for centuries. By morning, the storm had ended, but the camp was in chaos. Scientists and soldiers ran everywhere, arguing and scanning equipment. Strange readings covered their monitors. Energy spikes. Unknown radiation. The ground around the ruin now pulsed faintly, as if something under it was alive. Dr. Mayhall ordered everyone to stay away from the chamber, but people whispered that Evan had done something impossible. They looked at him differently now. Some with anger, some with fear, some with curiosity. Evan tried to keep quiet, but every time he looked toward the ruin, he could hear faint echoes of the voice again. "You must protect the heart," she said. "If they open what lies beneath without guidance, the world above will fall." He didn't know how to protect anything. He was just a technician. In the afternoon, a group of soldiers arrived from orbit. They were not scientists. They wore black armor with the Alliance symbol scratched away. Their leader, Commander Rowe, was tall, expressionless, and moved like a machine. He spoke very little, but his eyes studied Evan with quiet suspicion. "You were the one inside when it broke?" Rowe asked. Evan nodded slowly. "Yes, but I didn't mean to." "It doesn't matter," Rowe cut him off. "We are taking control of this site. Dr. Mayhall's team will provide data. You will be questioned later." The soldiers surrounded the ruin and began setting up heavy equipment. They brought scanners, weapons, and strange spherical devices that hummed faintly. Evan watched them from a distance and felt a cold pressure in his chest, the same feeling he had when the seal glowed. That night, while most of the camp slept, Evan woke again to the voice. "They are opening what should not be touched. You must stop them." He rubbed his eyes. "How can I stop them?" "They're armed. I'm nobody. You are not nobody. You hold the link. The mark on your chest connects you to the vault. I can guide you, but you must trust me." He hesitated. "Why me?" "Because you listened. Because you did not use violence. The seal responds to spirit, not strength. Her words made him think of how everyone else had tried to force the seal open. Maybe it had been waiting for someone calm enough to hear it. He left his tent quietly and walked toward the chamber. The guards at the entrance were asleep, the machines around them glowing in red standby light. Inside, the air felt heavy, thick with energy. The broken seal still rested on the floor, but something below it had begun to move, like gears turning beneath glass. The voice guided him. Touch the heart again, but this time, focus on harmony. He knelt near the cracked ring. His hand hovered above the smooth surface. The golden lines on his chest glowed brighter, matching the pulse of the chamber. He felt his heartbeat slow, and for a moment the world around him became quiet. Then light shot up from the center of the ring, not blue this time, but white and gold. The ground trembled. A deep tone filled the air, like the sound of a bell ringing across the stars. Evan stumbled back, but the light didn't burn him. It wrapped around him, forming a thin barrier. Through the light he saw images, memories that were not his. Tall cities made of glass towers, ships flying between suns, beings of light working beside humans smiling. Then explosions, war, silence. The seal being built to hide what remained. When the vision ended, he found himself on his knees, gasping. "You saw," the voice said gently. "My people destroyed themselves. We sealed away the core, the last pure energy that could rebuild or ruin worlds. I was left to guard it. You have released me, and now others seek it again." Evan stood slowly. "Those soldiers? Yes, they serve another. One who remembers this power." He turned and saw Commander Rowe standing at the entrance, a weapon raised. "Step away from it, Cole," Rowe ordered. Evan froze. "How did you triggered another surge," Rowe said. "I told them you'd try something." He walked closer, his eyes hard. "You don't understand what this place is. The Alliance has plans for this technology. It's not yours to protect." Evan shook his head. "It's dangerous. It shouldn't be used." Rowe smiled coldly. "Everything powerful is dangerous. That's why we control it." Before Evan could reply, the air behind him shimmered again. The glowing woman appeared, not just light now, but almost real. Her golden eyes burned with quiet strength. "He is under my protection," she said, her voice calm but echoing. Rowe fired his weapon. The energy bolt passed straight through her and hit the wall. She didn't move. Instead, the bolt turned to dust midair. Everyone in the room froze. Evan stared at her. "You can stop them?" She shook her head. "Not for long. My strength is fading. I exist because you hold the link. Only through you can I act." Rowe raised his weapon again, shouting for backup. Soldiers rushed in, aiming their rifles. The woman looked at Evan, and suddenly the symbols on his chest flared so bright they lit the whole chamber. Energy exploded outward, throwing the soldiers against the walls. Their weapons melted like wax. Rowe hit the ground but managed to crawl to safety. Evan felt dizzy, his body filled with strange heat. What did I just do?" "You protected us," she whispered. "But you cannot stay here. They will call reinforcements. The vault must be sealed again in another way." Outside, alarms screamed. The camp was in chaos again. Evan followed the glowing figure as she moved through the corridor. Everywhere she passed, the walls hummed with energy, lights flickering like nervous stars. "Where are we going?" he asked to the surface. "To the origin." They stepped out into the desert. The night sky above Valian was wide and silent, filled with 3 moons. Wind carried dust like silver smoke. She pointed to the horizon where faint lights glowed under the sand. "That is where the core sleeps. It must be moved before they reach it." Evan looked at her, then back at the camp behind them where soldiers shouted orders and drones flew overhead. "How do we move something buried for thousands of years?" She turned to him. "Through you." Before he could ask what that meant, she pressed her hand to his chest again. A surge of warmth filled him, spreading through his arms and legs. The mark on his chest expanded, forming lines that ran up his neck and down to his palms. The desert around them began to shake. Under the sand, a circular glow appeared, growing wider and wider. The light rose slowly, revealing a massive disk, smooth and ancient, with the same alien writing carved along its edge. Evan stared in awe. "That's it?" "The core," she nodded. "It listens to you now. Guide it to safety." He felt her words inside him like a pulse. Somehow he knew how to command it. He lifted his hand, and the glowing disk began to rise higher, floating silently into the air. The energy pressed against the wind, bending it around them. But far behind, Rowe's voice echoed through loudspeakers. "Stop him! Open fire? Beams of light streaked through the air, but the energy field around the core deflected them. Still, every hit weakened him. The more he moved the core, the heavier it felt. The woman's voice stayed calm. Do not give up. The seal broke for a reason. You were chosen to finish what we began. He grit his teeth, focusing harder. The disk floated higher, glowing brighter until it merged with the clouds. A beam of golden light shot upward into the sky, cutting through the night. Then everything went quiet. The core vanished, leaving only dust and faint blue sparks. Evan collapsed to his knees, exhausted. The golden mark on his chest dimmed to a soft shimmer. The woman knelt beside him, her form fading. It is hidden now, safe for a while. He looked up at her weakly. Will I see you again? She smiled softly. You already do. I am within you now. The seal lives through you. Her form dissolved into thin air, leaving only the sound of the wind. Evan looked toward the horizon where the light had gone. He didn't know what came next, but one thing was certain. The seal might have broken, but something far larger had just begun. The desert of Valion was quiet again, but the peace was fragile. Evan sat alone near the ruins, the night air heavy with dust and electricity. The glowing disk had disappeared into the sky hours ago, and with it, the strange woman who called herself the Guardian. He could still feel her presence deep inside his thoughts, soft, distant, like a voice carried by the wind. The soldiers had retreated for now. Most of their equipment was destroyed during the energy surge, and the surviving ones had returned to orbit to report to command. Dr. Mahal and the remaining scientists stayed hidden in their tents, afraid to go near the ruins again. Everyone blamed Evan, though no one dared to confront him directly. He tried to rest, but every time he closed his eyes, flashes of light and memory filled his mind, pieces of a history, not his own. He saw tall beings of energy, vast cities built on floating islands, and the slow collapse of a great civilization that tried to control something it didn't understand. Then, the image of the seal forming, a prison to hold the last living memory of that ancient world. The voice came softly again. You are remembering what I see. Our bond grows stronger. Evan sat up. You're still here. Yes, I am part of you now. The seal's power cannot exist without a vessel. Your mind holds the connection, but your body holds the key. He didn't understand, but he could feel her. The warmth under his skin, the faint light pulsing with his heartbeat. What happens now? He asked. They will return. They want the core, but it is no longer where they think. You moved it to the sky, to the place between worlds. But they will not stop searching. They will hunt you. Evan looked toward the horizon where thin trails of smoke rose from the camp. Then what should I do? Survive, she said simply. And learn. The bond gives you strength, but also danger. You must control it before it controls you. The next morning, Evan woke to the sound of engines. 3 Alliance dropships descended from orbit, stirring the sand into violent spirals. Soldiers poured out, led again by Commander Rowe. This time he wasn't wearing his normal armor. His new suit shimmered with strange blue lines, glowing with energy that looked familiar. Evan realized what it was. Fragments of the seal's material. They had taken broken pieces and built weapons from them. Rowe's amplified voice echoed across the desert. Evan Cole, by order of the Alliance Science Division, you are under arrest for interference with restricted alien technology. Evan stood, raising his hands. You can't control it, he shouted. It's not meant for humans. You'll destroy yourselves. Rowe's expression stayed cold. You don't understand what you touched. This technology can change everything. Energy, defense, even immortality. The Alliance cannot let it vanish. Evan shook his head. It was never ours to use. Rowe stepped closer. Then tell me where the core is. The air around Evan shifted as the Guardian's voice whispered in his mind. Do not answer. The seal inside you will protect itself. When Evan tried to speak, his throat locked. It wasn't fear. It was like something inside him refused to let him betray the secret. Golden light flickered across his skin. Rowe noticed it and smiled. So it's true. The seal merged with you. He lifted his hand and the armor on his arm expanded into a glowing blade. Then I'll take it from you directly. The soldiers aimed their rifles, but before they could fire, a wave of golden energy burst from Evan's body. Sand lifted into the air, swirling around him like a storm. His eyes glowed faintly as he shouted, "Stop!" The sound wasn't just a word. It was a command that echoed like thunder. Every soldier froze in place. Even Rose staggered, his armor flickering. "Good," the Guardian's voice said softly. "You are learning to channel it." Evan looked around in shock. "I didn't mean to." "Intent shapes power," she explained. "The seal responds to will. If your heart stays calm, it will protect. If you lose control, it will destroy." Ro recovered and fired his blade forward. The weapon hit Evan's energy field, but instead of cutting, it dissolved into sparks. Ro stumbled back, stunned. "What are you?" he demanded. "I'm just human," Evan said quietly. "But she's part of me now." The commander backed away and called for retreat. His soldiers dragged each other toward the ships. As they lifted off, Ro pointed at him. "This isn't over. The Alliance will come with everything they have." The dropships vanished into the clouds, leaving silence behind. Evan fell to his knees, breathing heavily. The golden glow faded from his skin. The Guardian's voice came again, softer now. "They will return with stronger weapons. We must leave this place, and where do we go?" "To the mountains beyond the Red Ridge. There is another site, older than this one. My memory tells me something sleeps there, something that can help us." Evan gathered what supplies he could and set off across the desert. The journey was long and harsh. The sun burned by day and cold winds tore at night. Still he walked, guided by the faint light that glowed on his chest whenever he felt lost. On the third night, as he rested near a cliff, he saw a faint blue flash far away in the sky, ships descending again. He knew the Alliance wasn't giving up. He climbed into the mountain valley by dawn. The rocks were black and smooth, carved by old hands. Strange marks glowed faintly along the walls, matching the same alien script from the seal. The Guardian spoke in his mind. "We are close. The sanctuary is near." Deep inside a cave, he found a large chamber filled with circular stones, all marked with different symbols. At the center stood a pillar, cracked but still glowing. "Place your hand there," she said. "It will recognize you." He did. The pillar lit up and a hidden door opened in the floor. Inside was a small sphere floating in light, spinning slowly. It pulsed the same golden color as the mark on his chest. "What is it?" he whispered. "A memory core," she replied. "It holds the last knowledge of my people, the truth of the seal and how to end what is coming." He reached out and touched it. The moment his fingers brushed its surface, his mind filled with visions again. A war across stars, ships tearing through the void, beings of shadow consuming light. He saw a world destroyed by greed and power, then rebuilt by sacrifice, the Guardian herself sealing the core away to protect what remained. When the vision faded, he was crying. "You sacrificed your world to save others," he said softly. "Yes," she said, her voice tinged with sorrow. "And now your kind stands at the same edge." Before he could reply, a deep rumble shook the cave. Rocks fell from above. The Guardian's voice grew sharp. "They have found us. The Alliance tracks your energy now." Evan turned toward the entrance and saw shadows moving. Drones flying in first, scanning the area, followed by soldiers in heavier armor. He ran deeper into the cave, clutching the memory core. "What do I do?" he shouted. "Reach the end of the path. The sanctuary has a bridge to the sky. I will open it." The walls glowed brighter as he ran, and golden light followed him like a trail. The soldiers fired, but the energy around him deflected the shots. Explosions echoed behind him as he reached a narrow cliff opening that looked out over the endless desert. Above, the clouds swirled with golden light. A circular pattern appeared in the sky, the same design as the seal. "Jump," the Guardian whispered. "Trust me." He hesitated for one heartbeat, then leapt. The wind tore at him, but golden energy surrounded his body, slowing his fall. He floated upward instead of downward, carried by light. The drones followed, but when they entered the glowing field, they melted like dust. Below, the cave collapsed, burying the soldiers. Evan rose higher, passing through the swirling pattern in the sky. Everything around him turned white, weightless, silent. When his feet touched solid ground again, he stood on a platform surrounded by stars. The air shimmered with faint golden mist. "Where am I?" he whispered. "Between worlds," the Guardian answered. "This is the bridge the ancients built, a place outside time. Here no one can harm us, but it will not last forever. The link that keeps it open is you." He looked around in awe. Distant orbs of light floated like suns, and each one seemed to hold memories of living worlds. The Guardian appeared beside him again, her form fully solid this time. She looked almost human now, her golden eyes calm but tired. "You brought us here," she said softly. "But the true test is still ahead." The Alliance will not stop. They want the core for their own control, and others beyond them have already awakened. Evan turned toward her. Then we fight? She smiled faintly. Not yet. First, you must learn who you truly are, and why the seal chose you. The stars around them pulsed like a heartbeat. Evan stared into the endless space ahead, knowing the journey was far from over. The place between worlds was silent, filled with stars that didn't move. Evan stood beside the Guardian on a floating platform made of smooth light. There was no wind, no cold, no gravity, just endless golden space around them. He could see shadows of galaxies far away like painted dreams. It felt peaceful, but deep inside he knew this peace wouldn't last. The Guardian turned toward him. Her form glowed softly, her eyes calm and sad. This place was built by my people, she said. It connects all worlds that carry our touch. We called it the Bridge of Souls. But now it is fading. The energy that holds it together depends on you. Evan looked at his hands. Golden lines pulsed faintly under his skin, moving like veins of light. Why me? He asked quietly. Why did the seal react to me and not the others? She smiled gently. Because you did not seek power. You listened. That is what the seal was waiting for. A mind that reaches out in peace, not control. He thought about the scientists, the soldiers, the endless experiments they did just to break the seal. They had used tools, machines, and violence, but never silence. Maybe that was the secret all along. The Alliance won't stop, he said. They'll come again, stronger than before. Yes, she answered. And not only them. There are others who have felt the core awaken. Beings that remember the old war. They are coming too. Her words chilled him. You mean, not humans? She nodded. Something older. Something my people failed to destroy. Evan looked out at the glowing space where faint shadows moved like dark fog among the stars. Then what can we do? You must learn to control the seal completely, she said. It is not a weapon. It is a balance between life and memory. It listens to your will. If your heart is clear, it will shield the innocent. If your heart is clouded, it will burn everything. He took a deep breath. How do I learn? She reached out and touched his forehead with her glowing hand. The moment her fingers brushed his skin, his mind filled with waves of light. He saw flashes of ancient worlds, strange creatures, endless wars, and finally, the creation of the seal itself, millions of souls joining their energy to form a single promise. Never again. The vision ended, and he fell to his knees. She helped him up. You saw their truth, she said softly. The seal was not just a prison, it was a promise made by those who wanted peace after the destruction. You carry that promise now. He stood, still shaking. But how do I fight something that powerful? You fight it not by destruction, she said, but by choice. You must protect the heart of the seal and prevent others from using it for war. If you fail, everything connected to this bridge will fall. Before he could reply, the stars around them flickered. The golden light dimmed. She turned sharply. They have found us. Dark shapes appeared across the horizon of stars and ships, but not human ones. They looked like shadows carved out of smoke, their surfaces twisting like liquid metal. A deep sound filled the space like thunder underwater. Who are they? Evan asked. The remnants of the Devourers, she said. They were the enemy of my people. They consume energy, knowledge, life. They feed on memory itself. The ships grew closer, breaking through the golden mist. Black lightning crackled around them. Evan felt the seal inside his chest pulse faster, reacting to their presence. They want the core, she said, and they will tear through worlds to find it. Evan clenched his fists. Then we stop them. She looked at him, her expression soft but proud. You speak like a guardian now. The air around them shimmered as the first wave of energy from the enemy ships hit the bridge. Golden walls formed instantly, rising like shields. Evan felt his heart race, the light in his body spreading outward. He could feel every pulse of the barrier as if it were part of his own skin. The Guardian raised her hands, forming circles of light that surrounded them. Focus, Evan. Let the seal flow through you, not around you. Do not fight its power. Guide it. He closed his eyes, breathing deeply. The hum grew louder. The golden lines on his arms spread to his fingertips. Light burst outward, striking the incoming dark ships. Each time they were hit, the ships dissolved into smoke and vanished, but more kept coming. The Guardian's voice filled his mind. They are endless. Their hunger never stops. You must connect to the heart of the seal again. Call it from the void. He remembered the glowing disk he had lifted into the sky, the core of the seal. Somewhere far above the stars it still existed, hidden. He reached out with his thoughts. The mark on his chest burned brighter. The darkness ahead split open and a golden circle appeared, glowing like a sun. From within it, the great disk emerged, spinning slowly, surrounded by tendrils of light. Its power filled the bridge, shaking every particle of space. The enemy ships hesitated. Their dark lightning turned gray, fading under the golden glow. The Guardian smiled faintly. "You have called it. Now let it sing." Evan raised his hand. The disk responded, pulsing in rhythm with his heartbeat. Light spread from it like ripples on water. Each wave struck the darkness, and where it touched, shadow turned to dust. The Devourers screamed, not with sound, but with thought. He could feel their rage pressing against his mind. They tried to pull his energy away, to feed on his memories. Images flashed before him, his home, his friends, his childhood, fading one by one. He gasped. "They're taking everything." "Hold the promise," the Guardian whispered. "Remember who you are." He focused on her voice. He remembered his first day on Valian, the cold metal of the seal under his hand, the warmth of her touch when she appeared, the feeling of wonder, not fear. The light in him flared again, stronger than before. The memories returned, brighter than ever. The golden waves became pure fire. They spread outward in all directions, sweeping across the bridge, pushing the darkness away until nothing remained but stars and silence. The disk stopped spinning. The golden mist settled. Evan fell to his knees, exhausted. The Guardian stood beside him, her form now faint and transparent. "It is done," she said quietly. "The Devourers are gone. The bridge is safe again." He looked up at her, breathing hard. "And you?" She smiled softly. "My purpose is fulfilled. The seal no longer needs a guardian of light. It has you." His eyes widened. "No, don't go. I'm not leaving you," she said gently. "I will always be within you as memory and strength. But my form cannot stay. This world needs balance, not immortality." She reached out and touched his cheek. "You did what no one else could, Evan. You listened. You became more than human. You became the bridge." Her form turned into soft light, rising slowly into the air, dissolving into the golden mist. The bridge around them began to fade too. The stars blurred and the air felt heavy again. He heard her last whisper in his mind. "Protect what we built. Do not let them forget." The light vanished. Evan opened his eyes and found himself lying on the sand of Valian again. The ruins were gone, replaced by a smooth, glass-like surface that stretched for miles. The sky was calm and 3 moons hung low. The camp, the soldiers, everything else, gone. Only silence remained. He stood slowly. The golden mark on his chest was still there, glowing faintly. When he looked up, he saw something new in the sky. A faint golden ring like a halo circling the planet. It shimmered gently, almost invisible. He smiled softly. He knew what it was. The bridge still existed, hidden between worlds, protecting everything from the darkness beyond. As he walked across the empty desert, he felt the Guardian's voice echo faintly in his heart. The seal was never meant to bind. It was meant to remind. Evan looked at the horizon, the golden light touching the sand. He didn't know where he would go next, but he knew one thing clearly. The universe was alive. And now it remembered. The alien seal had resisted everyone, but in the end it had chosen a single human who listened. And through him, its promise would live forever.